Hello everyone. In this video I want to show you how we can translate an HTML table found on a web page like this one into a JSON file. The goal of this is to grab all the information contained in this table. This is a page that contains the 1000 most common German words. I want to grab all this information from this table, get the German words and their translated English words, turn them into a JSON structure, and then save them as a single plain text JSON file so that I can use them in an application I'm building to learn German. So let's get started. I'm going to inspect this table and I'm going to go here. You'll see that it's an HTML table containing a T body, and all the rows are contained inside this T body. So each row contains a TR, and each TR row contains 3 columns, one for the number, one for the German word, and one for the English word. So the first thing I can do is just by clicking on the table element here in the inspector, I see this shortcut, this $0, which means that if I switch to the console, I have a access to this element just by using the shortcut. So $0 gives me a reference to this element. Okay, so I have like this shortcut. Now I want to iterate through all the rows. The table HTML element object gives me access to all the rows by the rows property. The rows property automatically gives me an HTML connection containing the 1001 rows or TR elements in this object. So you can see there's just 1001 elements rows because apart from the 1000 words we have like this header here. So I don't want the header here, I just want the words. So I have to filter out the first TR. Now the HTML collection element doesn't allow me to use really handy array methods such as for each or map or filter. So I need to convert this HTML collection, which is an array-like object, missing some of the really helpful array functions. I need to convert this HTML collection into an array, and I'm going to do that through array from. So array from will convert this HTML collection into an array, and through that array I have access to all the useful functions such as filter, map, for each, etc. So I will use array from, and then once I have the array I can slice. As you can see, the length is right now 1001. I will just slice starting from the first row and get just the 1000 rows containing just the words. Let's get the rows and add them in a variable for quick access. So I will create a constant called rows, which will give me, of course, the 1000 rows of this table. Okay, we have the rows. Let's start iterating. So I'm going to say rows for each row and see what we have inside here. Let's console log row and see what we get. As you can see, we get a huge list of rows, so TR elements, and each TR element contains the TR element object. Let's see if we can see these rows in a element format. So we can see the TR, and we have like these two TD elements, these two table cells. So I just need the second and the third columns, the third and second and the third TD. So let's filter out the first one. So I'm going to say first row, or let's make it first column, so td1 and td2. I'm going to destructure these. So row, it's not iterable, so let me grab the tds from row. I'm going to get to access the row element and then use the query selector role to find all the TD elements inside the row element, the TR element, and then I'm going to destructure the first and second TD. Now, since I don't want the first column here, I just want the German and the English word, I'm going to put a comma here, so that the destructure will skip the first TD and then destructure the second and the third value right here. So I can see that I have like a mistake here. It's not TD1 and TD2, it's TD2 and TD3, but let's pick a better naming for these variables. So I'm going to destructure the array that I'm going to get from the query selector role. First, let's see what this method returns before we do the destructuring. So what do we get with this? We get a node list, which is also an array-like object containing 3 elements, the first, the second, and the third column. So I'm going to destructure and get the second and the third column. We cannot really see, like, it's not easy to see the content here, but if I scroll down, you will see like the second TD of this row is the one that contains a German word, Immobilien. So let me see how the destructuring works and if I'm correct with my, so German word and then English word, and we do get the second and the third column, but instead of getting the word, I'm actually getting the TD element, which contains the content V, as, ich, I, and so forth. So I have to dig deeper, and then instead of just getting the German word, the TD containing the German word, I'm going to get the content from these TDs. So I'm going to say German word, which is the TD text content. So just get the text content from this element. And then here, English word text content. Let's rename these variables to reflect what they contain. So the two variables will contain the second and the third TD element containing the German and the English word, and then I'm going to console log this object and use the syntax to actually get the German word, the text containing these words. Let's see if we get the result that we want. So we do get the German word Wahlen and the English word select, so we are kind of close. Now let's put this information in a JSON file. So I'm going to say German 1000. I will use an object to store this information. So the key will be the German word and the value will be the English word. So I'm going to, instead of console logging, say German 1000. The property will be the German word right here. So let me say German word equals this, and then yeah, I'm getting a syntax error, so I accidentally pressed enter. English word equals English word td and the text content. Let's comment this. Then I will say, okay, in the German 1000 object, I'm going to add a property, and the value will be, of course, the English word. So let's see what we get. So let's go to German 1000. We get an object, and we can see that we have like the German word as a property and the English word as the value. Now this seems quite okay, but if I check the length of this object, how can I check the length of an object? I can say object keys German 1000 and then check the length. You will see I have something strange here. I actually don't have 1000 entries. I was expecting 1000 entries, but I have instead 909. Now this is because certain German words contain a second or third or a fourth English meaning. So there are some words in here that have like various English terms associated with them. One German word can have 2, 3, or even more English words. So in order to compensate for this special condition, I have to make sure that each word, each entry in this object does not contain just a single English word, but a list of English words. They can be either 1, 2, 3, or more. So let me restructure my my case here. So I'm going to do a check. So if the entry that I'm about to add here is not already populated with some data, if the entry, the German word, does not exist, so if this is the first time that I'm entering this German word in the object, I'm going to just add the word right there in the dictionary. But since I'm going to be having either one or more English words, I need to make this an array. The entry should not be a string. Sorry, the entry value should not be a string, but an array of strings, because there might be like 2 or more English words associated with this word. So upon new entry, I'm going to create an array, put the English word, and then just create this entry. Else, if the German word already exists, this means I will have an array of 1 or more words, and I just need to push into this array the next English word associated with that German word. So instead of just assigning here, I'm going to push the English word. Okay, let's see what we get. Let's check the length. It's already 909, but let's see what we get this time if we try to print the array. Now, looking over the array, the object like this, it's kind of difficult. We can see the Angebot German word has 2 English words. Arbeit has 2, work and job, and so forth. So we're kind of like filling here the missing parts. But there's another nicer way to view a structure like this in the console. I can use the table. And now I have the table, which is a much nicer and cleaner format, and I can see like the words and their associated English words. As you can see, we have like 4 columns because we have words with a maximum of 4 English words associated with them. I think this looks pretty okay. So I'm going to move on. Now, the last thing I want to do before like actually copying this information and pasting it in a JSON file is to make sure that I do have 1000 words. I do have 1000 entries, because the length here, the 909, it's kind of like looks a little bit suspicious to me. Am I missing some words? Do I really have like 1,000 words in my dictionary, or did I kind of like missed some of the words from the table? So let's do a check to see whether we have all the words. So in order to do that, I have to keep track of the total entries, which is 909, and I want to keep like the total words that are inside my dictionary. So in order to do that, I will say total, let's say English words. I'm going to check the total English words that are in there, and then I'm going to say let's also track the words, the German words that contain multiple values, that contain more than one English word. So German, let's say multiple. So the idea is to actually get the total English words and the German entries that contain multiple values, and then check the numbers to see if we get a total of 1,000 words. So I'm going to iterate over the German 1000, and for this I'm going to use the object values, which will iterate over the object and give me back the value of its object entry. So I will do a for each, and I will say word for short, and then console log the W to see what I get. I'm going to comment this for now, just to test. So I do get an array, and probably I will see an array of, I also see arrays with a length of 1, so I might be missing something here. Let's see. I'm trying to find, yes, an array with more words, like, okay, this is an entry with 3 and this is an entry with 2 English words. We're kind of like in the right direction. So let's also console log the length. So what is the length of this? So we have like a couple of entries that have 2 words, 1 word, and so forth. So let's pick all of these and say total English words at the length. Okay, so I've added the length of these English word arrays into the total English words, and now let's check to see what we have out of this. So in total we have 1,000 words, which means that we did get all the German words from this table, but some of them are like in an entry, a row that contains multiple English words. So the 909 seems that leads us to like a correct German object structure that contains all the words. Now let's do one last check. Let's check the German multiple, so the entries that contain multiple words. So I'm going to say if word with the word length, the English word's length is larger than 1, then let me know which entries contain more than 1 entry. I will just add 1 to the German multiple and get a clue, get an idea of how many entries I have that contain multiple English words. So let's run this, and I will get German multiple 76. So I do have 76 entries that contain 2 or more English words. I did these checks that just to quickly make sure that I'm not going to be missing any values, any words from this 1000 words table. Now it's time to convert this into a string and copy it and save it in a plain text file. In order to do that, I will have to JSON stringify the German 1000 word like this. Now this, as you can see, seems a little bit ugly. There are no new lines in here. So let's prettify this. Let's make it a little bit more pretty. I will use the third option of JSON stringify and say that I want to add a tab as a space character to give it a little bit more a more pretty format. Now if I do this here, I will probably won't see a difference because this new line character is translated into an escape character, but I will copy it in a text file and we will see the difference. So first I will copy the JSON stringify without any extra parameters. Now I don't want to copy this string from using this command. I want to use another command that's available on the DevTools, and that's the copy command. So I can say JSON stringify German 1000, and now the contents will be copied in the clipboard. Now I can do Control V. So I will go in a text file in VS Code and press Control V, and I will have all the entries here available. Now, as you can see, this is one big string. I can, of course, use an extension to beautify the file and add some new lines or indentation. But let's use the option directly through the console. So I would say I don't care about the second parameter, but I'm going to add a tab for the space character. Now I'm pasting, and as you can see, with the third parameter set to /tab, which is the escape, the special character for the tab, I have a much nicer syntax. I don't have to run any prettify or beautify command in this JSON file. So I have my object. It contains all the words with all the associated English words, and now I can just save it as German 1000 and JSON and use it in my application. I hope this video helped you learn and improve your JavaScript skills, and also learned a little bit about how we can manipulate objects, arrays, and of course how easily we can work with the DevTools to manipulate web content and also make use of this content in our applications. Thank you for watching.